Alright, I got lucky. The rams have come down over the cliffs and they're right in the grassy slope. And I've been sucked into this creek bed, belly crawling up to them, and they're about 700 yards from me now. And the wind is perfect. And I got about 20 yards to go and they'll be completely concealed from me. Now this is the point where you get excited. The jumper get me pretty excited. And you have to talk yourself into staying calm for the shot. I'll probably get a 300-yard shot, maybe 2. Hopefully the wind's good. I'll show you the rams right now. And you'll see the grassy hump that I use for cover. But I'm still uncertain of my wind direction. So you always have to be aware of the wind direction on your stock, okay? Here we are. So the wind's on my back, but I'm not sure which way it's going. Straight up, or to the left, or to the right of that slope. Now all I gotta do, move up 20 yards and that grass knob will cover me from those rams, and I should be able to sneak up on it. But I'm worried about my scent. So you really gotta take your time, which I'm gonna. It's probably a 9-10 yard ram. See what the hell we're doing. That'd take a while. And this is how you come down. it is the 14th of March today, and it's funny, quick note, you know how, I don't know if many of you are familiar with, say, hitmen as an example. There's a couple books out from hitmen telling their stories and how they said they would go, their favorite move was to go into a crowded place and do the loudest gun they could, because there would be so many different descriptions and versions of what actually went down. Same with accidents. When you talk first responders, police, at an accident scene, it could be a dozen witnesses, and almost every one of them have a different version. Anyway, I'm saying that to make note of, it's the same thing as when I say something in a video here. So many people don't, actually, not so many, but there's always going to be a handful of people that just don't listen to what I'm saying, and then they email me and blow a gasket. I probably had 4 or 5 or 6 emails of people being angry because I was tucking my tail and running away from YouTube. When I didn't even say that. What I said was, I'll say it one more time real clearly. I'm going to make full videos here in one go instead of stopping when I hear some things being said in an email that will get us deleted from YouTube. I'm going to make that whole video anyway, read the entire email anyway, include it in the video, and then chop those emails out for the YouTube video. And then the full video left with the emails, the topics in the emails that'll get us deleted, will go onto the other platforms. That's what's going down, alright? Nobody's leaving YouTube, nobody's charging your shit, and that's what's happening. So, if that's confusing, press rewind, listen to it one more time. Alright? Now, got the internet guy coming. He's going to light the shop up with the internet. So maybe I could even possibly start doing live shit in here so I don't have to edit at all. Which would be real cool. Alright? Even ask some questions, you never know. One more quick note. My steelhead camera to record the bite as the steelhead comes and bites the gear works perfect. I did it. Absolutely nailed it. I can't wait to go. Now, let's get some voices heard. More important than mine. Hello, Steve. Emailing in to reply to a video. Thanks for all you guys do. It would be epic someday to meet you if I come through. I'm in Logan, Utah for now. I'll be guiding in Alaska this summer. Then return to Nepal. And maybe again be home in the winter on my reservation in Utah with my son and his wife. I am ever grateful for your work and space you've made. When I return to Nepal, I have an art studio. I hope to paint some large inspired works from some of your videos. Wow, that's incredible. We've come a long way. The years, the truth still is solid and so much more to do. I did not know you had read my letter until this morning. I was an editor and journalist for 16 years for my tribe. I hope these formats work and hope to continue to help. Take care and have a great week. Happy spring, Club and No Return, Steve. It is Sunday, the day that bit off an hour of time. Mountain Daylight Savings Time in the States. Ha ha ha. Us natives laugh about daylight savings time. That only white man cuts the bottom of the blanket off and sews it on top to make it longer. Oh my god, that's a good one. That was a good one. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to have to post that up somewhere. Let me say it one more time. Only the white man cuts the bottom of a blanket off and sews it on the top to make it longer. I came homesick from my current job as a caregiver. I was dozing off to your recent video and I heard my name. Maria. Warrior Maria. Mariah? I stopped my fever and now backtracking to reply. I stopped my fever and now backtracking to reply. In August I was working in Alaska as a guide. Alaska calls those who endlessly work and can maintain something deeper in us, presence. So, I missed your video, which you shared in my letter. I'm most humbled to know now it was shared, and see that so many were helped. I'm also grateful, as so many are, for the safe place you have provided and maintained for the vision of truth here. Indeed, the Club of No Return. So let's see. Question. Soul and love. What separates God and soul? Alien DNA. And love lost. It is impossible for any God-created soul to lose connection, even though
even through choice. God's gift, soul, and choice to human. To those who, like my father, who choose zero reality, the detachment from creation, whom had forfeit presence. They become enclosed in a shell, a self-created reality. This is a scared place of temperance and safety. They are maintained, closed off, and life is allowed to them. That is how they are kept. We on the outside, and through God's design, can help only through prayers and love divine. God keeps them. The soul belongs to God. This is the fail-safe which is allowed to the human creation, even when severed by choice to all of creation. The soul is in the breath of God, a specific frequency, so there is never loss. What we feel is loss and separation, which is very painful and disorienting. So know that if you seek solace for loss of connection, you can go to God and reconnect. This war is brutal. But within us, we must bring joy in. It is what will sustain us through. Joy is the way forward. Fear will begin to manifest, and you'll be consumed in the false reality, sticky and suffocated. That is how souls are bound. So beware. Be vigilant and seek joy. Alien DNA, ? RNA and DNA are like the blocks of life, function of all creation. Free to the frequencies to express the individual songs that give birth to life, or just building components to the game of creation. Aliens, such as greys, insects, gnomes, humanoids, are like mud dolls I used to make as a child. They function as part of presence and duties to a higher being. They do not have soul, and even now, such as what we now see forming next to us, studying us and mimicking us, AI. These are things closing in next to us. They are not of God, nor evil. They're only components of the game. But still, we are part of their and our reality. Once you become whole to yourself and your creed, you have the potential to repel or stealth their frequencies, the same way they do. Because we too are DNA. We too are water, iron, and life is bound to rules and orders. But we ourselves are not. I am. I am the caption of my soul, and that is why true humans are most feared, most dangerous. But not many ever have made it, but we will stay the course. Love and loss. If humans can love something enough to give it soul, can someone love enough to replace what was lost? Families torn apart and fixing this. Ah, so beautiful. Love is something boundless. It is the true power within God and whole of creation. So, also, within love is expressed suffering and hardships. Again, this is the planet of peace. This time is brief, and indeed our very selves in great agony just to be, but one must not lose heart. Loss. I see and understand that if you hold close someone who has chosen to avoid their soul, you must honor their choice. There is never, as all parents know, a place where the purest love can stop choice. We too feel the grief of choice that another makes. It can reverberate and recreate our own frequencies. Suicide works this way. You must see that divine love is never absent and break chains. This is an important task here, especially in families. If you can hold your ground and break chains, you will see that you have stopped a demon from rising. These are very, very dangerous when loose, without harbor as a human. They do become dogman and bad sabe. The war is endless of loose demons. The game is full. But if one can break chains in their own love and bonds to others, so much is gained. And most importantly, a true human is standing in the game. Please know that you are more valuable than anything believed to be a loss. Choice is honored at all costs. You have paid it. Move forward. Know that your heart breaks and harm felt by choice is not unknown to just God, but all in the war. Know that it is not currency either. It cannot be lost or quantified. Spend the time needed to mourn loss and know all our loved ones and ourselves are in God's hands. Pray and get up. We are very important, and many will suffer next to you if you do not move forward. Yes, these are darkest of days, but we were made for this. I'm happy to help. Steve, you truly are a joy for us all. We're in hard times. I see that when I watch you and Dave. We're even now seeing the manipulations of the sky and politics is going beyond anything we grew up with as children. Don't play the game. Free yourself and manifest yourself. We worked hard to get here. We are not something small or a meek. We are the ones that are scared and torn and battered and have nothing to lose. So dream the biggest dream and never lose heart. Tell those demons and aliens no. Be the beast they fear and you will part the battlefield. They hunted us because we knew the way and would not manipulate or harm humankind. So it will be as easy as breathing to end this war, but it takes us all. When the club of no return looks up, we see endless horizons, not the lies. Keep it up. I grew up fighting bullies too. We got this. Thanks again, Mariah. Utah, Ute. There you go. To some, there's going to be one hell of a powerful email, and to others, maybe not so much. But either way, you take from it what you will or leave it and don't blow a gasket. Me, I can't wait to hear from you again, right? So please, when the time is right and the need is present, or maybe our need is, make sure you email us again, all right? Appreciate you big time. And these are words that need to be shared. Thank you so much. All right, who's next? Struggling to get comfortable being out in the woods. It's the title of this email. Hi, Steve. I'm going to try to get this out smoothly, but I'm not one for always getting my thoughts out clearly. Join the club, dude. I'm leading it. First of all, I've been hunting since I was 12. I'm 41 now. I've been blessed to be able to harvest many elk, deer, and pronghorn in my lifetime. The following stories, I suppose you would call them, take place in central Idaho. My family have 2 cabins that are in the wilderness of Idaho. This location is very near Frank Church Wilderness in Idaho. We've been hunting right out our front door for decades, and it is a great area. Everything has been amazing for the last 25 years or so, but in the last 5 to 10 years or so, I have noticed some strange things. Steve, I have one completely crazy sight one day while hunting. I was following a 5-point bull one day. I was on one side of a small valley and the bull was on the other. He walked into an area that had been burnt by wildfire about 10 years prior. This area was so hot that there was very little vegetation, even 10 years later. Oh wow, that kind of sucks. I hope I'm painting the picture correctly. This bull was only about 200 yards from me, and I had no clue that I was there. I found a good solid rest to take the shot. The bull walked behind a burnt tree. I was going to take the shot when he stepped out from behind the tree. Well, the bull stepped behind the tree and I could see his hind end at this point. The bull then turned uphill, I assumed, and went completely behind the tree. Steve, I swear on my life, this bull completely disappeared. It never stepped out from behind the tree. There was nowhere for this bull to go. This area was extremely visible. I waited for him to step back out for about 45 minutes. I was confused, so I walked over to where it was. I found the tracks. They headed uphill like I thought, and then they just disappeared. Whoa. No one believes me on this story, but I swear it is true. Another day, about 3 years ago now, I wrote in to you previously about this one, not sure if you read it or not. I was outside at the cabin and heard what I thought was a wolf. This was up a canyon, and by my complete guess, about 2,000 to 2,500 yards away. I heard a sound off, and immediately I thought, I know wolves are big, but I didn't think they could howl that loud. What really confused me is that about 10 minutes later, an entire pack of coyotes started yipping and barking and sounding off. I know that wolves don't tolerate other canines, but these coyotes were in the same general area. I suppose it could have been a wolf, but it was extremely loud, and I feel like I could feel it down to my core. Last strange thing, I was out with my daughter in a Razor UTV checking out an old gold mine. My sister and brother-in-law was with us. We had to cut about 30 trees that were across the road. We got in there, and I had that feeling again that we were being watched. We did our exploration, had some lunch, and started out. This is a beautiful blue sky day, not a breath of wind. On our way out, we were in the rear. I heard what sounded like a tree falling. I looked to my left, and there was a tree falling directly toward the center of the Razor. This is a big tree. My guess, about 18 to 20 inches at the base. I don't think this is a mere coincidence. The chances of that tree falling directly toward the road at that exact moment we drove through is astronomical. My apologies for this not being a Sasquatch story. Steve, I am not going to lie to you. I am struggling with enjoying the outdoors now. I still push myself to go out rock hounding, prospecting, and hunting, but I can't seem to enjoy it anymore. I used to think about elk season all year now, and I almost dread getting back out into the mountains. I know that there are Sasquatch around our cabin. I can feel it when they're around. I've never seen one, and I really don't want to, but I can definitely feel when they are around. I do believe that a .300 Winchester Magnum isn't enough. I even carry a .45 pistol as a sidearm. How can I get over this fear? I want you to enjoy the things I used to do. I always feel like I am being watched. How do you get yourself out of this mindset? I am truly struggling. My apologies if this didn't come across smoothly, or if it is confusing. Like I said, I'm not an author, LOL. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I am hopeful you will have some insight for how I can get back to enjoying what I used to love doing. You can use my name. Hell, no one believes my stories anyway. I'm not afraid of being ridiculed. Thanks, Steve. Jim Chatterton. All right. Well, Jim, I'm glad you emailed that, man, because you know what? Let's face it, not too many guys are going to be brave enough to even admit that to themselves, let alone somebody on a frickin' YouTube channel, right? But anyway, you've heard me say it before, I'd assume, but I always try to suggest to people just take baby steps, right? Because you already know. You know what it feels like. I know what that feels like. And you as well know that it doesn't feel like that all the time. So, I mean, you've seen where I go, Jim, right? You've seen where I have taken the camera with myself, by myself, basically from Alaska to the full length of British Columbia. And to be honest, the most spooked out that I get and the anxiety that I can create for myself is at home. And it'll happen to me the worst when I've gone to bed, I'm not asleep yet, and I know I'm going to go tomorrow morning, and I know I'm going to be hiking up that mountain in the timber, in the dark, for at least an hour. Sometimes two. Usually an hour, hour and a half. By myself, where these sightings are, where I've heard things, where creepy things have been on my trail camera, where I've been screamed at when I was taking a leak off of a rock, where I've seen a footprint, where I don't know how many other people have had experiences not far from there. And I will start feeling like, oh my God, what am I doing? I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And it's worse for me at nighttime. And then I'll wake up in the morning, and then I get my coffee in me, and I'm still as fresh in my brain when I wake up in the morning. And then I drive there, I get out of my truck, but I swear on my frickin' existence, as soon as I start walking, I'm getting jacked up and I'm into the hunt. I'm into it, and my focus goes straight to the hunt. What am I going to see? Is that big buck going to be up there? What's going to be in that timber? And then as I'm walking, I can sense that I do not feel pressure. And even though I don't feel pressure, I always say, not out loud like yelling out loud, but I say with words from my mouth, I know you're here, you know I'm here, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I'm just going hunting. And I do that once or twice, or a few times as I'm doing my hike, just out of habit. And I also say it in my mind. And but if I feel off in any way, I listen to my gut, and I turn around, I leave, and I go somewhere else. That simple, that easy. And you've seen my videos, man. I don't skip, I don't miss. But also at the same time, in my mind, I feel like I'm running out of time. I'm going to be dead. I realize this, probably a little too much, but I realize I'm dying. Right? I am dying. I'm going to be dead. A time is coming when I'm not going to be able to do this ever again. And I make sure that I stay aware of that fact. And that's why you guys see me so busy. That's why you guys see me sharing videos from so many activities and outdoor adventures. That's why. Because I frickin' love it. Nothing's going to stop me, and I'm going to do it as much as I can no matter what. So, how do I transfer that courage onto you and other people? Believe me, if I could come up with the perfect frickin' recipe to deliver that, as well as the perfect recipe to help people become in tune with their intuition, their sixth sense, their common sense, my God, I would dedicate my entire frickin' life to making sure that recipe got delivered to every single human being on the planet. Because not only would that help you enjoy everything more thoroughly, it would also help stop the douchebags. Right? Your intuition, your common sense, your sixth sense would not take or put up with any BS, and the lying, misleading so-and-sos would sit in front of every human being clear as day. Right? So there's all sorts of, I'll bite my lip there, I'm just saying there's all sorts of benefits to, first, realizing you're going to be dead. Right? Also realizing you need to do what makes you feel good. And above all, you need to be in tune with your sixth sense, your intuition. You have to be. And you have to teach your children to be. I believe. And I wish if I was closer, man, I'd go with you. I would go with you. We'd get up and go in that, we climb that mountain in the dark or another one, feel it out together and just go do it and enjoy it. Have a successful day and go home. They'll go to another spot, and all of a sudden hit a brick wall and go, whoa, I don't like the feeling of this place. Nope, me neither. Let's go. And turn around and you leave. But there's a reason that we're getting those feelings. That's your intuition. That's your gut feelings, and you have to go with it. It's just telling you, not today. This isn't a good place for you today right here. Oh, it isn't? Okay, I'm out of here. Okay, let's go. It's over. Right? But that doesn't mean that you absolutely quit and annihilate your life and your passions. You just do. It's not easy. It's easier to say it, right, man? Obviously, you're going through it. But first, just try to accept the fact that you are dying right now. Every one of us are. There's no way out of it. Right? Now, picture being at that point of life where you're dying right now. You actually really are dying, and you look back, and you're going to be going, shit! Why didn't I hunt more? Why didn't I go that frickin' mountain again? Damn it! And here I am dying. I can't go back in time and do it again, right? Anyway, babbling you guys. I'm starting to sound like Tony frickin' Robbins for crying out loud. But anyway, Idaho's not that far, is it? Who knows? We'll see. If I do get to manage to pull off my little bit of a U.S. tour, we'll see if I can. We'll see if I can swing around and help yourself, maybe others in the same position as you, and I'll go out in the woods with you. We'll just go and feed off of my knowledge and my energy, and I'll share it and see what we can do. But in the meantime, that's about all I got. Okay? Thanks for writing in, man. And make sure you write in more about your progress or hiccups or speed bumps or whatever you come across, because I'll guarantee you there's a shit pile of other people that are in the exact same boat as you right now, and they don't want to talk about it. But they're listening, right? They're listening for knowledge and help. That's why we're here. Now let's listen to somebody else. Title, this is Red. You ask for anyone with a similar situation. Hey Steve and the HDH family. Thank you, Steve, for all the reads you do. Keep it up. And F, the blank sucking scumbag pieces of blank. I saw your video from the 8th of March 23. You read a guy's story about an encounter with light and seeing shadow people afterwards. Then you said if anyone has a similar situation, please email me. And the hair on my body kind of stood up. And my eyes welled up. It's hard to explain, but just a lot of emotion, because I've been thinking about emailing you about it. So, I'm sorry if this is long, but I'll do my best to keep it to important info. And if anyone is experiencing anything like this, please leave a comment for me. I had a neighbor who got a weird trail cam picture. It was one which wasn't a solid being, but you could see eyes and teeth. And the more I looked at it, The more details I ended up seeing, and it just seemed so strange. Almost like a fractal of a being, like a kaleidoscope effect or something. I had some weird experiences living there, like hearing rock tapping in the woods late at night. Then I moved and ended up seeing a naked, hairy man, a sabe, in a WMA, a little after dark. WMA, I'm not familiar with that. Obviously a bunch of you are going to be. It was right after sundown, and I was driving down a dirt road with a flashlight. And bam! My flashlight hit it right in the face. He was crouched down, ass to grass, hugging a tree, right at the tree line from the road. Just to be clear, it was no way a bear. No bear there, and I saw a thinly haired chest and long arm and thigh with a bent knee. I went back a couple days later, and it was just at 20 feet away from my truck. It popped up super fast before I realized what I was seeing, and I got a massive adrenaline dump. Whew. I just got shivers just now. My whole body just took a shiver from... You just put me there. I remember it had a super wide mouth, nearly as wide as the head, and big reflective eyes. It was showing his teeth, almost like he would show your dentist. I was driving when this happened, and as I kept rolling my light, hit a branch with leaves which blocked my view, and that was it. A few weeks, maybe 3 to 5 later, I was having weird semi-sleep state type dreams that I was still awake, but lying there imagining things, like seeing things from a first-person view of being someone else. That happened 2 to 3 times. Then one night I started to fall asleep and ended up feeling paralyzed. But 110% as conscious as I am typing this, and seeing a big black cloud thing or a black fire like nearly on me, or trying to do something strange like grab my arm. And I was basically having a effing heart attack. Finally I broke out of it and it disappeared. And I was able to move, and I started to freak out immediately and explain what happened to my fiance, who was in bed awake next to me. Next night the same thing happened again, and I was so terrified to try and sleep I didn't go to sleep till daylight. And then the third night it happened again, but instead of a swirling black cloud of fire or something, it was a being, all gray or white, almost standing at the end of my bed. And I was absolutely terrified due to the previous 2 nights. I do not know why I was so scared, because there was no pain. I was just absolutely terrified. Anyway, this being was slightly short with a slightly large head, but nothing ridiculously abnormal. But his eyes looked like stars, literally exactly like bright stars. And also, when I entered this state, this time it is like I was transported into space. I was just in the middle of blackness with stars all around us. And I kept trying to say, Jesus Christ, which I did the first 2 nights as well. And after 2 to 3 seconds, he disappeared. But I was still there in what looked like space. And I just looked around at all the stars, and I felt very calm. I was just amazed at how beautiful it was. Then bang, I'm in bed, and I tell my fiancée about it, and she just thinks I'm crazy. But I swear, I was not weary or sleepy. I was very conscious during these moments. So those situations never happened again. Man, I feel like this shit sounds crazy, but whatever. So I had a picture of a fawn in the woods, and I was looking at it, and I noticed these things in the back that looked like beings. So I went back there and took more pictures, and I didn't see the same ones, but I noticed in damn near every photo there are some type of beings. Tons and tons of what look like Sasquatch, Dogman, all kinds of weird shit. They're all kind of pixelated or whatever, but some just were too strange to deny. Anyway, I kept doing these trips in the woods and photos and looking at them. And then I noticed I would see things around photos of people, photos of myself, things that look like snakes on people, all kinds of the weirdest beings, and honestly, I have no clue if I'm imagining it or not, but I know some are definitely not imagined. Maybe some are, I have no clue, but I know I see many weird things now, and even in regular life. I notice what seems like distortions in the air and seems the same in photos. Almost like the ripples on a lake when the wind blows and how an anchored boat has stillness behind it, but in the air. And waking up around 3:10 to 3:50 in the morning and seeing the distortion, it just freaks me out because it seems like something is there. And whenever I take photos or examine them, there's always tons of things like fractals of beings in another dimension. I don't know what's going on, but I just want to understand what I'm seeing. And if it's in my head, I just know it started so concrete, like a naked, hairy man right in front of me. My good friend's trail cam photo that I know was authentic, as I noticed the being in it to begin with. And now it seems like there is this net of spirits over everything, and I don't know what it is. I just know I don't trust anything the government or any big entity says. It's all effing lies, 110%. I only trust what I see and find out myself. But I feel like I've found a book, but I don't know the language and I need some advice. I will say I saw Scott Carpenter just uploaded a video of a dogman that looks exactly like the beings I see tons of in photos and videos. More of a distorting in the light, but clear cut as can be and eyes. I don't know what else to say, besides this has been my experience, and I wonder if anyone else has had the same. I'm trying to find a Native American tribal group near me to see if they can give me any advice. I also really just want to thank you for everything you do. I think if this all happened without your videos, I'd feel really, really crazy. Okay, a little quick note from me. Okay, man, don't beat yourself up. And every single thing you shared here, you gotta understand that it's possibly gonna help somebody, or who knows, maybe a lot of somebodies. We don't know, right? We don't know until somebody like you breaks free, cuts loose, and frickin' spits it out, right? Somebody's got to be the first. Are you the first? Nope, you're not. All right? So there's a plus, there's a bonus right there. So, if anybody has similar experiences going down, please email. Well, you can if you want to email this person, email me. Or if you want to share it with everybody, email it through. Share it through me if you want. I'll do it. Or share it somewhere. All right. It doesn't have to be me or here, but we need people talking openly all over the frickin' place, no matter what. Or you can comment in the comment section below, or if you know of past videos we have here and you remember the title of the video because it had an impact on you, put down the title of that video in the comment section below for this person to watch. All right? And then we'll take it from there. Thanks for sharing that, man. Don't forget, even if we hadn't heard this stuff, this crazy shit that you got to share, somebody's got to be first, you guys, right? Doesn't matter how crazy it sounds. Somebody, if it's legit, somebody's got to be the first one to say it. Get it out there, right? Because unfortunately, the majority of us are too scared to say it out loud, right? Don't be scared. It goes for everybody. Quit being scared of shit. Don't be scared of nothing. You realize how many people are here and have your back? Just get it out. Thanks for sharing that, man. Make sure you write back again, alright? And keep watching the comment section below. And if I get something my way, I will post it up to help you out. Alright. Who's next? More pictures around my house. Hi, Steve. It's Jack Willis. These photos were taken from a video I took walking around my property in Washington State. So, I took this video and sent it to my buddy Scott Milika, who lives in Alaska. He broke down the video into some still shots frame by frame, and these are what he found in the video. In one of the photos you can see the Sasquatch's hand draping over the fence. You can see it pretty good. He's kind of squatting behind the one sitting on this side of the much rotted picket fence. You can see 4 of the fingers with long black fingernails. They are pretty damn scary themselves. And it looks like the one on this side of the fence is blowing out birthday candles. Her cheeks are puffy. And on one of the other pictures is a female with a young one in her lap. And if you zoom on her, down where her feet would be, you can see 3 of her toes perfect. The big toe, and the toe next to the big toe, and part of the middle toe. And the other picture is squatted down looking at me at the base of a bush, which I have a photo, him that would climb this tree right outside my upstairs window, and he can see Carrie, my wife, when she sits in her recliner and watches TV. No, there's not much punctuation, you guys, all right? So she said, Jackie's out there. So I walk upside the window, I put my phone on the window. I can't be seen, just my camera, and snap a picture, and I'll send that photo when I find it. I got several pictures that Scott sent me from that video. And to let you know the still shots from that video, these creatures were no more than 50 feet from where I was making the video. So they are really close to me. Right across my driveway, there is a little electrical high line that goes right by my house. And years ago, the property owners planted an orchard of several types of fruit trees. And they take all the fruit from these trees. And the high line is unattended and not trimmed. High line. What's a high line? Let me read that again. Take all the fruit from these trees, and the high line is unattended and not trimmed there. And the high line crosses the Columbia River only a mile from my house. And this clan lives on around this high line. All right, so I'm guessing it's a power line. So they got food, water, fish, clams, all they need right there. And not too often I get a truckload of day-old bread and dump it on that high line, but nothing regular because I don't want them expecting it. Sometimes I'll wait 3 months before I put the bread out. But yeah, the alpha male is about 11 foot tall, and I have a photo of him looking over some 10-foot cottonwood saplings, and they are 10 feet tall, and his head is over the top of them by about a foot. I'll send more, Steve, as I find the photos. I don't want to send too many at a time because they all have their own story. Steve, and by the way, you do know your plants. That was my photo I sent in of that Sasquatch kneeling in the trees, signed Peace JW. Sorry, I forgot to put my name and location. I live in Longview, Washington State, and it's southwest Washington, about 40 miles from Portland, Oregon. Okay, Steve, keep on keeping on, JW. Okay, man, gotcha. Yeah, I knew there's no way that timber wasn't too far from me. But, alright, so, again, photos, blurry. Some parts of the photos definitely aren't blurry, and right now, looking from here, I can see the fingers. And you guys know there's a face, there's a nose, there's a mouth. Boom, right in my face. But, as you know, the pictures don't do too much for me personally because I've seen these things in the woods. And I do realize that it's just the way it is. It's almost probably possibly impossible to get a dead as clear photo of one. Do I know why? No, I don't. Have we had people, here's another one too, we've had a shit pile of people promise to send in pictures, crystal clear pictures, crystal clear photo or trail camera photo, crystal clear video. They never do. Why not? Right? Why do they not ever send in the pictures they promised to send? Although you've come clean, you've come through with a handful of pictures, I'm not questioning you, not for a second. But it just kind of reminds me that we sure have a lot of people email in, they got perfect pictures and they don't send them. But anyway, thank God that we are not a place that requests them, and we don't need them, really. But a lot of people out there are curious to see them. Anyway, appreciate you, man. Send more, alright? Send more. Alright, this one is titled about a different topic. Now, what do we got? What's this one? Am I allowed to read this? I keep getting, there's a lot of emails that come in just for me. Don't share, don't share. Alright, no subject on this one. I own a fishing camp on a small South Georgia river. Here we go. I'm telling you of an encounter my female caretaker slash cook slash maid slash handyman and the best friend had one night about 5 years ago. She is 20 years younger than me and has lived with me for over 12 years now. We are very good friends, but not lovers. I'm 78 and she is 58 now. She loves to fish more than any man. She often stays there alone fishing for up to 3 days and has never been afraid. She is always well armed with a Ruger 10-22 rifle, a German 22 long rifle revolver, and a Mossberg 12-gauge pump loaded with 7 rounds, a double-aught buck as well. Sounds like she's not one to mess with. At night on the dock when alone, she usually keeps the Mossberg leaning on the rail and has her revolver holstered. Before meeting me, she had never held a firearm. I've schooled her well on self-defense. These weapons are meant for negative human encounters. One hot summer night, we were out on the dock fishing for catfish, and the river is on the rise due to heavy rains the few days before. 2 weeks earlier, a river birch of about 12 inches in diameter had fallen into the river from the far bank, about 100 feet from the dock and upstream. The crown of the tree was on land on my side of the river, and the roots on the far side. The quick rising water was lifting the tree and was threatening to float it. I was worried the tree would float down and damage our new 10 by 12 dock we had built a couple of months earlier. At midnight, I got tired and I told her I was going to bed. She and our dog Zambo stayed out to fish some more. I was in a sound, deep sleep when Zambo, a 70-pound mixed bulldog dog, leaped into bed with me. She was whining and obviously very frightened. About 30 seconds later, my friend came running up the stairs and into the bedroom calling me. I was then awake due to the dog. She said quietly, in a very frightened-sounding voice, "There is a Bigfoot outside in the river." I sleepily told her not to worry, and I said, "They are very peaceful and will not hurt you. Don't be afraid of it." She said calmly she's going down to fish some more. What? No way. The next morning I was cleaning the fish when she came down from the cabin. I had noticed when I came downstairs that the fallen tree that had worried me was firmly wedged against the far bank across from the dock. It was no longer a threat, but would need to be cut up later to clear our fishing hole of the crown branches. She then told me a most unusual tale of the early morning encounter. She said she had been fishing in the dark, and there was a nearly full moon directly overhead, so she could see the river clearly. She said she saw a huge Bigfoot come to the river's edge on the far bank. It turned to her, and a voice came into her mind saying, "Be calm, I will not harm you." And that is when she and the dog panicked and ran upstairs to tell me of the Bigfoot. She said as she was returning to the dock in the dark, a very peaceful feeling had come over her, and she was no longer afraid. She went to her chair and watched the Bigfoot as it pulled the tree away from the far bank and began floating it while guiding the tree away from the dock. She said its eyes were locked onto her, and it kept sending her the same message, "Be calm, I will not harm you." She said the words in her mind were English. She said in her mind to it, she was not afraid. She watched it shove the tree onto the far bank so the rising water would not float it towards the dock. When she finished positioning the tree, he turned to her and said to her telepathically, he was sorry that his children had pushed the tree down, and he silently walked away into the swamp on the far side of the river. I asked her to describe him to me. She said his face was very human-looking, and it had kind but sad-looking eyes. She said he was huge, but had very distinct muscle definition like a human bodybuilder. His shoulders were about a yard wide, and its waist was narrower. It had auburn-colored hair, long except for its head. His face was nearly hairless. She said when it was wading in the center of the river while pushing the tree, it was in water up to its chest. We know at normal depths that part of the river is 6 feet deep as we swim there. I estimate that night the water was a foot higher than normal, so that tells me the creature was at least 9 feet tall. Since then, she continues night fishing alone on the dock with no fear. She tells me she has seen 2 juveniles that are the size of 14-year-old human males squatting on the far bank watching her. She sometimes leaves them 4 fish on a stringer. She holds fish up for them to see. Then she hangs the fish where they can see where she puts them. In the morning, the fish are gone. She says the 2 youngsters never Excuse me. She says the two youngsters never sent her thoughts, but she tells them mentally that these fish are for you. Neither of us have seen the big male again. She says one evening before dark, she once saw a small toddler that was pure white coming towards her on the far upstream bank. A large brown female came up from behind it, picked it up, and returned it to the thick woods. I bought this river place 15 years ago for its isolation and excellent fishing. There are no other camps upstream or downstream for 2 miles in either direction. We cut the road into the 14 acres to get to the river, and we built the 10-foot high elevated deck with a bedroom on its north side. It's on a 24 by 16-foot deck. We are completely off-grid and catch rainwater for cleaning, cooking, and it's filtered for drinking. We keep the cabin fully provisioned, as it is our bug-out location, and general fishing for food and fun place. Not many but my son knows of its location. Oliver, somewhere in southeast Georgia. There you go. There's another one. Take from it what you will or leave it, you guys. That's one hell of a story, man. And that's one hell of a thing to decide to wake up and make up and find an email address on YouTube and send it to it. Right? There's been a handful of experiences relayed from southern Georgia, Florida, Louisiana too, I think, but more Florida, Georgia, of people seeing these beings a lot and respecting them and not sharing locations, right? There's a lot. Been a lot. I've read a lot. I don't think we've had a lot emailed into us, but I've read numerous accounts of similar accounts of people having the same attitude and carrying themselves the same way you do and your friend. Very interesting. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm sure, I don't know, I guess if you have access to the internet and you're watching this, I'm sure your friend is too, so may want to make sure she sees this video. And if she is watching right now, and if you want to add to it, or send in your own descriptions or experiences, how you felt, anything that you think might help somebody else, and possibly email it to me, and I'll share it with the planet. All right. Appreciate you guys emailing in. It sounds frickin' crazy, man. Frickin' crazy. Be safe out there. All right, I'm gonna share one more email here. Then I'm gonna rip it. It's titled "A Couple Puzzle Pieces?" ? Hi Steve, hope this finds you well. First, I'm glad to know you and others like us from the round table are tracking the globalist evil and are loaded for bear as far as they are concerned and removing their like as they should be. Now, on the topics you read on the 3rd of August, you recall an earlier entry, not sure if it was the Owlman, that said in having contact with the Sabe, he had asked about the Dogman and if they could defend themselves against them, and if they were killed by the Dogman, and he said that it told him yes. The Dogman do attack them and kill them, and that they have to have 3 of them to kill one of the Dogmen. Which brings me to the idea that their dislike for dogs was from this reason. And as I know you're aware that bear and wolves have a hatred for each other. The second piece of the puzzle might be that the male DNA of both the Sabe and the Dogman are of separate male DNA. One the wolf DNA to the Dogman and the bear DNA to the Sabe. I don't know if you're aware, but both Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone spoke of having encounters with the Sabe. Daniel Boone said his son had been picked up and body slammed a couple times when he came upon a Sabe with him after hearing a couple of the shots fired. The second shot, he said, must not have been used with a cloth in the musket, and that when he shot it, the ball went through the Sabe's eye, which killed it, and that he had used a hatchet to open it up, and that it had no ribs, but a chest plate that was 3/4 of an inch thick. Well, Steve, I'll keep as short as I can right now. I have a ton of other things that are going through my mind, ideas. When you speak on how your mind works, it sounds like we come from the same Norwegian line of fighters, explorers and perseverance. But in general, good people that don't and won't suffer fools. You take care of yourself and folks together with the rest of the people of the round table. We'll get to the truth. Godspeed and blessings, Brother Sean Little. Okay, man, appreciate you. And there's another one from another subscriber. Thoughts to chew on. I'm not going to get into the DNA topic right now myself. I got to get my ass in gear. But anyway, I'll be back again shortly with a lot more experiences and lots of progress here. Can't wait to get the internet hooked up, get the lights hooked up, get the wall in, and get some real people in here so we can pick each other's brains apart live with everybody and get to the bottom of a bunch of shit, motivate a bunch of people, and more importantly, educate even more people and encourage people to have courage and be brave. All right, I'll be back.
Well, there's camp. That's where we spotted him from. That's the wide open ground we had between us. And that is where he was, just right over there when we finally got a shoot at him. And they went up there, but I lost him. I'm not certain that I missed him or not. I'm pretty sure I missed him. The gun's definitely out. Got 4 bullets in my backpack. We'll see if we can get that fixed up. I don't know. Not a good day. Can't imagine what it'd be like to drop $40,000 and have this happen. Ooh, that must feel bad. Anyway, here we go. Onward.